Seattle's special because there's such a huge part of the population here that's really in tune with what's going on, how we're treating our environment, and who really cares.
You know, the one thing I think that excites me is that Seattle's blessed with abundant green electricity that is so much bigger, and so it has so many more uses than just turning on the lights.
I grew up in this city. This is a city blessed with an incredible natural beauty, and the destruction to the natural beauty of this planet is related to carbon emissions. And electric vehicles give us a chance in Seattle to start to change that storyline.
The people that benefit most from the EV movement are pretty broad spectrum, just about everyone in the city. People will benefit generally from cleaner air, from cleaner water. Anyone who actually buys or leases an EV will benefit from the lower operating costs that they offer, which are pretty significant in this state.
I absolutely love driving EVs. You know, I think what I find most exciting is how inexpensive they are and how fun they are to drive. EVs are just in another league, and I absolutely love driving it.
Well, I think there's a lot of appetite for electric vehicles in Seattle. I personally think it's a great way to get around. I have kids, and so I drive kids around, and they drive themselves around now, and it's a nice way to get around the neighborhood.
In Seattle, it's a place where electric vehicles make sense because we have a lot of hills, and their torque allows them to deal with that super efficiently. And the ones with regenerative brakes let them recapture some of that energy when they go back down the hill.
Well, I think everyone will benefit from electric vehicles in Seattle, and cleaner cars, electric cars, means a cleaner environment, which means healthier people.
You know, you look at the respiratory illness, the cardiac illness associated with pollution coming out of our tailpipes, it's profound. You look at the illness rates close to our freeway here on I-5, it's significant increased incidence of these diseases because of what's coming out our tailpipes.
When I think of clean energy and clean power, I think of something that is restorative. I think of an energy source that is sustainable. We are so fortunate to have so much of that here in Seattle and in the greater Northwest with our hydro energy dams. We should tap into that even further, and we've done that in our built environment. Now we can take that a step further and tap into it in our transportation system, and particularly with electric vehicles.
The SGL plant in Moses Lake is the world's largest manufacturer of essentially the carbon substrate that goes into the body of the BMW i3. It's an all-electric car. And that is now turning out the substrate that gets formed into the body, which of course is much lighter and much, much stronger than steel. As a result, the BMW i3 can have extraordinary performance.
What electric vehicles make clear is that we're not done. We can't just stop with electricity. We need to be thinking about ways to get off fossil fuels in our transportation system, and electric vehicles and Seattle City Light's green electrons are a way to do that.
Seattle City Light was the first utility, and I think so far is still the only utility in the United States to be absolutely carbon-free. And we use that not just as we currently do to power the buildings of the city and the industries of the city by increasing the transportation fleet of the city, then we're leading the whole world in the right direction.
Well, Seattle, through our City Light, has the cleanest electricity in the country, and electric cars can play a huge role in an environment like that. One of the biggest challenges we face when it comes to carbon emissions is actually our transportation system, and electric cars is one of the ways that we can address that challenge.
But on a more global perspective, these cars have the capability of doing what we need, which is to perhaps save the planet from cataclysmic climate change. So we think we have an elegant solution here where we're using renewable energy from hydro and wind and solar to feed your battery and then power your car in a quiet, safe, non-polluting way.
Whenever someone says electric vehicle, everyone who's listening to them thinks of cars, and that's important. That's where a lot of strides are making. But a huge fraction of our vehicles are not cars. They're trucks, they're delivery vans, they're buses, they're jitneys. And as we begin to electrify Seattle, a big part of what I would like to see is people using, whenever they require individualized transport, their electric vehicle, but unless they absolutely require it, moving into other kinds of electrified vehicles?
I actually received a Nissan Leaf, all electric, through the King County Metro Van Pool program. I heard that they had purchased a number of Leafs to add into the program, and so I created a carpool for it because I just saw it as a great opportunity to drive an EV when they first came on the market. So I'm driving a first generation and absolutely love driving that car.
I'm a grandparent, got 3 grandkids, and I know a large part of the solution so that they can go down to the beach and take their grandkids. And a big part of that answer is the development of electric vehicles. So everybody who's working on this, thank you for my 3 grandkids, and let's go build some electric cars.
The 2030 District's Electrify Seattle project will make our city a market leader in electric vehicles. Our project is going to bring charging infrastructure, consumer education, and partnerships with electric vehicle manufacturers together. Once we do this, using Seattle City Light's clean electricity, we're going to get the city of Seattle off of fossil fuels for good and make this the cleanest big city in America.